do we get people to actually tune in? How do we get people to listen? How do we get people to consume our content? And that question is one that diplomacy is also facing at the moment, because we live in a world where the information ecosystem is pretty fragmented. Now, the German Foreign Office just celebrated its 75th anniversary, and right now in the year 2026, they are thinking about how do we then upgrade our communication to make sure that we are able to convey reliable information, to make sure that we can communicate our values more effectively, and also that we offer space for international dialogue. Well, to answer those questions, we're delighted to have somebody from the Foreign Office with us. His name is Christian Heldt. Christian, welcome to the Global Media Forum. Thank you so much for being here. So you're the Director for Strategic Communication and Public Diplomacy. You arrived early. You have been here since yesterday because you spent the day with the GMF Fellows. Now I have to tell our audience what the GMF Fellows are. We have 45 people from 35 different countries who, due to assistance from the Foreign Office, were able to attend the Global Media Forum. And after having spent the day with them, what would you say are the similarities between journalism and where do we have different approaches?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I feel a little like the exotic being in this room full of journalists as a diplomat. But I do believe we share common interests, and that's about information spaces. You just said they have become more and more fragmented with the phenomena we just heard about in the last panel as well. Level playing field was one of the key words. And these are all things which matter to us at the Foreign Office, because we do believe that a level playing field and intact information space is vital for societies. Factual information, good journalism, even sometimes it is annoying for governments, but that's what it's about.
It's our job.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And what we care about is that people can do their job. Journalism is vital for critical societies. We need that because, now to come to the point where we as governments, like the German government, are interested, not to have, for example, disinformation spread about what our country is doing and what it's not doing. So, to keep the information space intact, we need good journalism, we need free journalism, we need journalism from crisis regions, we need authentic reports. And here also we come into not just disinformation, but also the role of artificial intelligence, which does matter a lot. So, with the fellows yesterday, I think, and I really have to, say I didn't have the opportunity to spend the whole day with them, but a very intense, heated not so much because of the content of the discussion, but because of the wonderful tropical climate here in Bonn, but a very good discussion on topics which concern both of us as journalists and as diplomats.
All right, now you have mentioned the challenges that you are facing as diplomats. You've talked about changing media consumption, the political context that we're seeing changing, AI. So how are you adjusting your communication strategy to enable international dialogue?
First of all, our job has completely changed over the past years. Like when I joined the Foreign Service, still here in Bonn, so it really means something to be standing in this particular room. We were educated to discreetly deal with things. So best diplomacy is one that never even appears in the news, preventing things before they happen. Now, we also have to tell our story, because there are narratives out there, let me say this diplomatically, from contenders who paint completely different pictures from the reality we see in Berlin and elsewhere in Germany. So our job is to tell our story, because if we don't do it, somebody else will do it for us. And to counter these narratives, we have to be active. We have to be out there, which doesn't mean that we don't do our traditional work, but advocacy, public advocacy is important for what we want to stand for and for what we want to be seen as in the world out there. Reaching out.
We're seeing the German Foreign Minister Johann Wadefuhl leading the way in that. He's become a content creator. So what we're seeing him, of course, post about, okay, I've been to the EU summit, I've been to Washington, I've been to New York, but then we're also seeing him when he's visiting different countries, like talking about the local food, and he's tasting it and saying well, how it tastes, of course.
Mexico,
it tastes delicious. Yeah.
nachos.
He can't say that any of the foods taste bad. What is more important for the Foreign Office right now for you to get your message across? Is it being on social media or getting an interview in one of the big German newspapers?
It's both. You can't do, you should be able to do the one and the other. I mean, our main concern is talking about different platforms, social media. We want to be present. We have to be present. And also in formats which, of course, are new to us. And discovering this new landscape of social media also makes us as professionals adapt to how we can reach out to people. And you mentioned our minister with his Wadefood series, getting into all kinds of specialities from around the world. It's a way of bringing the world to an interested German public, and at the same time saying we want to reach out, we want to be partners, we want to be out there in a very complex world, but there are so many like-minded out there. We have challenges we're facing together, so let's tackle them together.
Now, one of the things the German Foreign Office does is support initiatives that fight for the protection of journalism. For example, the Hannah Arendt initiative.
Yep.
Now, given the challenges that journalism is facing at the moment, will you be able, in the long run, to sustain that level of support?
Content-wise, yes. Financially, hopefully. I don't have a crystal ball. But I have a personal record of the Hannah Arendt initiative. I was ambassador in Latvia until 2024, so I saw the influx of journalists coming from another contender further east, coming into Riga and Latvia.
I find it very interesting that at a journalism conference, you're being so super diplomatic, but you're talking to journalists when you say a contender from the East. Why are you not just openly mentioning countries?
That's the fun about it. No, we can also talk about it openly. I mean, who had to flee Russia back then? And there were other news outlets like Medusa who had already struck up their headquarters in Riga since 2014, so there is quite a track record. Hannah Arendt initiative is doing a fantastic job, not just for people persecuted in Russia, in Belarus, but also journalists from Ukraine suffering from the war, but then from all kinds of places around the world. We don't, that's why diplomatically don't want to beat our chests too much on doing that, because it's also important for the integrity of these journalists that they are not labeled, and we've seen it in Russia, the foreign agent thing, that if we flag it too loudly, that, hey, we're supporting journalists, that then others, contenders, could say, haha, they are now German agents. So it's kind of balancing, helping on the one hand, but not, raising the stakes too high for the people concerned, also for security reasons.
All right, now moving forward, when you travel back to Berlin, given the impressions that you've collected yesterday and today as well, I don't know when you're traveling back, is it tomorrow, is it today? Today, all right, but you've spent a whole day with us, so you've been able to really get a lot of information and talk to journalists also who have been here. Is that going to affect strategic communication at the Foreign Office going forward?
I think it reassures me that the things we are doing are going in the right direction. There is so much we can do also together, like Deutsche Welle Academy. I have seen their work on media literacy and so many other things which are important. We need this, and we need to exchange, of course, keeping a little distance. After all, I stand for the German government, but still there are good things we can do together. And what has really amazed me here is the atmosphere of different people from so many different places around the world exchanging and finding out, hey, in a way we're all facing the same challenges, networking and exchanging best practices, which I think is very unique in this landscape. So thank you for that, Deutsche Welle.
And thank you for being here. Thank you very much, Christian Heldt. Thank you, all the best.